Shh. Nobody's listening, right?
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Is anybody listening?
Wow. They are. I'm going to be gentle on you today,
Okay.
but I do think
I deserve it, I think.
I do think we should read a review just for, it's kind of how we start the show. Let me just see a recent review here. Let's see. Okay, here's one. This one from, I don't even know who it's from. It's a lot of letters. 5 stars. We appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
Authoritative Confidence is the title of this. Hello, Andy and Elizabeth.
No.
I've been listening since St. Monica wouldn't stop talking about you.
Yay.
I'm a Spotify listener,
Yay.
so I've only been able to give a thumbs up until now. The episode I'm listening to currently had me so frustrated, I just had to pause and come over to Apple Podcasts to leave this review.
I'm dying.
I'm also from St. Louis
Hey.
and still live here.
Great.
Elizabeth, I adore you. But the way you just had me screaming at you in my car while parked outside of work looking insane, crying face emoji, syndrome. I don't believe this is a regional thing, as we are all from the same place, but I do understand your slight outrage because hearing you say syndrome over and over was like nails on a chalkboard to me. All of that to say, I love listening and laughing with you two, and at least this little argument got you another 5-star review. Now go get Andy his cake, if that's what he wanted, because y'all sidetracked so hard. And I had to pause to leave this review before losing my train of thought, pushing play.
Okay, so can I have the floor for a moment?
Yeah, and then I will keep my rebuttal to like a 1-minute gentle thing, and then we'll move on from this.
I think you deserve to not be gentle. A lot of people weighed in, which we loved, on Instagram about syndrome, which I have mixed feelings about, but I was totally wrong. It seems, at least per our sample size, that syndrome is the way it is said.
If someone's just joining us, we had an argument last week about how to pronounce the word syndrome, or is it syndrome, like I say it, or is it syndrome?
Here's what I've found, at least according to our sample size of all the people who responded on Instagram and via podcast reviews, which I'm grateful for.
We got more comments on that post on Instagram of anything we've ever posted.
Is that right?
I mean, it was over 150 the last time
We've definitely touched a nerve, and people are passionate on both sides, which is really nice because it makes us not feel alone. They are.
But
here's the thing. I want to, let me have the floor for a minute because I have a lot to say.
Zipping it.
Okay. I am sorry. I was very wrong. I was very wrong to turn it into a whole couples therapy session about this. Although, you know what? I'm glad that we did that and we worked through. I feel like that is a relationship dynamic we have struggled with, and this has been illuminating. But it appears most people say syndrome. I still believe the phonetically correct way to say it is syndrome. I'm not going to stop saying syndrome, but I definitely am not feeling any judgment towards hearing you say syndrome anymore. Now, several comments kind of made it into my headspace. One was like, oh, this is just how it's said, even though phonetically it's probably correct to say syndrome.
Okay.
But like how people say for or fur. Like, I went for a walk. Instead of I went for a walk.
Okay.
So it's kind of just the way it's said. Now, someone commented from, I think, the UK and said that people are correcting her all the time and it drives her crazy. And it's just like, let people say the words however the fuck they want to say them. I just want to say this.
Okay.
if an American is correcting a British accent of how to say words, that is a crime against humanity. Like, we all should be striving to have British accents.
Sure.
And in fact, I hope it's okay for me to share this. Well, first of all, we recently saw the saint herself, Monica.
Yeah, we did.
She says syndrome. So that was humbling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who am I to negate a saint? Also, we were hanging out with a Kiwi who says syndrome, but that's in a New Zealand accent. And I think if a foreign accent is coming into play, no goddamn American is allowed to correct anything.
Yeah.
Okay, that carries us to, if I'm eating a cake at all, it's crow cake.
What's crow cake?
Crow. You know, eating crow is like being
I know the expression. I don't know the
shamed.
origin of it.
I don't
really.
either, but it's like, it's a punishment.
Okay.
Do
Eating.
you want a cake?
I never said last week if we wouldn't have gotten sidetracked, I probably would have said I wanted a donut.
I'll get you a donut.
But
Hang on.
gosh, because now it's becoming frustrating. I went into this like going to be so open
Do you
and
need
gentle.
to wipe your nose?
Oh God.
Okay. So the other thing I want to say that people pointed out, and I'm like, thank God we both did this, because if I had the audacity to do this and you hadn't, I feel like I would at this point just be walking slowly into the ocean, and in
What do
a
you mean?
way that's like filled with deep regret, which obviously it would be regardless. Okay.
I'm sort of
We both-
lost and frustrated right now, and I didn't expect to be here.
We both said during last week's episode, pronunciation
Oh yeah,
instead of pronunciation.
and we had a couple people
God, I'm
fix
so
that
sorry
for us,
for
which
that.
I
Yeah.
loved. Yeah,
Terribly sorry.
yeah.
And that's all I have to say.
Okay, I think it's very big of you. I wasn't going to gloat at all, but something
Yes,
about...
you were.
No, I really wasn't, but something about, I don't know, the last few minutes here. I thought you would at least make it clear that, you were so sure I was saying it wrong. But if you look at the comments, 80% of the people are on my team.
Did I not just...
No, you didn't. You
Yes,
said...
I did.
No, you didn't.
I said our what's it called? Sample size.
Mm-hmm.
Most people say...
But you also mentioned the thing that there are people on your team that are in. There were plenty of supporters for you, and I think with very similar arguments to yours, and it's a great argument and it's a valid argument. Let me say that. Let me validate your argument. You're not wrong in how you're pronouncing it. I mean, some people might think you are, but I don't think you're wrong. I don't think either of us are wrong necessarily. I think what we learned, now I don't even know what we learned. Let's move on, but I just want to say I got most of the votes.
Yeah, I think I made that abundantly clear. There was not, this is where I'm getting confused.
I guess
You
so.
don't think I groveled enough?
No, I didn't even want you. That's why I'm so confused with myself and my emotions. I didn't go into this needing you to grovel. But maybe I did after all. But anyways, thanks everybody for chiming in. Thanks for leaving all those comments. That was fun.
That was fun.
It really was.
It was very fun and it was very funny. I feel like as the comments started rolling in, because we were together and we were like looking at them, and my
it was
confidence, my authoritative confidence was.
I hadn't seen it though until noon, and you're like, oh boy, people are weighing in, and then by noon there was like already 60 comments, and I was like, oh boy. And
Yeah.
Anyways, anywho.
Okay, we have a lot to discuss. We did tell our listeners last week that we were going to talk about what happened at Ojai Valley Inn, which, by the way, we were there 2 weeks ago. Doesn't it feel like it was months ago?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
wild.
what happened, and like, I wish we had just said it last time, because now I'm like,
This is like a quick 2-minute story.
yeah.
It's all good. You teased it, tee it up, do it
Okay,
up.
so we went to this fancy 3-4 course dinner.
Prick 6, yep, loved it.
Pricks. and got pretty drunk.
Yeah.
And we're walking back to our banished hotel room.
Long walk.
A long ass fucking walk. Also through, like, the whole property is very well lit and beautiful for nighttime walks and stuff. And then there's this like turn that you make to follow this long path to get to our place. No lights.
No, who needs lights?
And also like big hills drops down.
And thousands of frogs.
It's like, it truly is like, and now you're being thrust into utter darkness. But anyway,
Can I just say, if there's anyone, the chances are very small, but weirder stuff has happened with this show that works at Ojai Valley Inn that hears this, or you know someone, can you just write us or DM us that we did in fact get banished? Because we really think we did. We just need to know for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, on our way there now at Ojai Valley Inn, there's this big like new barn type building, which is beautiful. Event space. We have had Thanksgiving dinner there. It's great.
It's cool.
And I think it gets rented out for like corporate retreats that go there all the time.
Yeah.
And we're walking by and we knew there was like an insurance corporate retreat happening while we were there.
We got our finger on the pulse.
Yeah. And we're walking by, and this is something I love about us. We are always down to crash a party.
Fucking A.
And in fact, we have a history with it. You and I, when we first started dating, living in New York City, you were living in a hovel on 3rd between B and C.
Oh, you got to go deeper than that.
C
between
and D.
C and D.
Ugh,
Alphabet City.
Speaking of being banished, and you had $0.
No.
And
none.
I had very few dollars, but I was living. I worked in advertising. I had a few more dollars.
Oh yeah, you had some.
I had a couple bucks.
Change in your pockets.
But I also was aware that you had none, and so we would go on these free dates, and those were some of the most fun dates of our lives. And why are you laughing? Why?
I don't know.
We sound so stupid. This
One
was
of us
20
does.
This is like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What about me sounds stupid right now?
No, I don't. It's stupid's not the word. Keep going.
Okay. Well, I think I would glorify this time regardless, but there's something very fun to me about we would set out with no plans exactly necessarily.
Yeah, we could have fun without spending a lot of money.
And that was the glory of New York City also. You could just stumble into fun things all the time.
Yeah.
So on this night, we head out and we went to this like public, I don't think it's still there, right? This public accessible, formerly sunken ship called the Frying Pan.
The Frying Pan. Yeah. On the west side. Yeah.
Which was on the west side.
Yeah.
It was like at the dock.
Yeah, and they would throw events from time to time that anyone could go to, which were so fun. But when we went, it was a private event.
It wasn't on the Frying Pan. So what it was we went to the Frying Pan, and it's like kind of a special place to us, and it's sad that it's not there anymore. We went there a few times.
You don't think it's there?
I don't think so. Huh. But it was so cool. It was like this rusted out ship that you could go through, go room to room. And
dance parties in the like hull. It was really cool.
It was really cool. So there was a yacht like connected to the Frying Pan on this night, or right next to the Frying Pan. And there was a fun party happening. And you and I crashed that party, and then the yacht left, right?
I don't remember that. But I remember crashing that party.
And we really crashed it. Like, we hung out, we drank, we ate, we danced. We were like, I don't specifically remember talking to a lot of people, but I think we chatted to a couple.
But not really, no.
But we mostly stayed to ourselves and just enjoyed the fruits of whatever parties. Yeah. So, and we had so much fun. That was a very fun night. And so now, 20 years later, we're walking by this barn. It's lit up. People are it seemed like they were having more fun until we got closer, and I was like, oh, people are just standing around in their insurance outfits talking.
Yeah.
But and I think it's some sort of, it's the IAA, which I think is like an auto insurance, like, I don't know. It's
Did
like,
you look this up or
yeah,
something?
I did. Because I remembered the logo.
It was IA, I think, if we're really
It was
gonna be clear.
IAA.
It was 2 A's?
Yes. And so we went in, there's a big board, welcome IAA members. I thought people were going to be hooping and hollering and dancing,
No.
but really they're just standing around drinking and talking. But we were still going to go
Crash it.
infiltrate.
Yeah.
And also had the intention of speaking with people.
For sure.
And we were like, we're going to say we're from St. Louis.
Yeah.
We've been in the insurance game for a while.
Well, we were walking in and we were like,
We're
let's come
too
up with a
drunk to pull
story.
this up
And then I
off.
feel like you were maybe going too far. I'm like, no, let's just wing it. And then I kind of left you, sort of.
Well, you were going off to the bathroom, and this is when this woman comes charging out, like from around this huge barn, like up to me, and she is concerned.
Yeah.
And I look nice. I want to say, like, I was wearing a dress, like
Yeah, I'm trying to
we'd
remember
gone to
what.
this nice dinner,
Yeah.
and she comes at me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh, sorry, that was probably so loud.
It's great.
Excuse me, are you here with the insurance? And I folded like an origami crane. I was just like, no, we're crashing. And she was like, well, you can't do that. And then you came up.
How did you get me back or something? Because I had already, I was already in.
You must have heard me or seen me or something.
But I probably could have left you for a minute.
I mean, this woman was like about to tackle me. It felt like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they've had some issues in the past or like security is a problem, but I'm gonna shoot straight here.
Yeah.
Like, seeing the people in this barn,
Yeah.
maybe I was dressed too nicely.
I think it was just different, nice attire,
It was a business
a
attire.
different type.
I don't know how she spotted me like eagle eye, but you
Yeah.
came out and you were like joking with her, which I kind of found annoying because she just kind of.
Well, I came right up and I go, was she that obvious? How was she that obvious? That's what I said.
I was just walking in, but we were pretty drunk.
Yeah.
And you know what? By the way, I feel like in our youth, I might have been like, yeah, I am part of the insurance. Oh, really? Well, where's your badge? Oh, you know what? I left it at blah, blah, blah. I would have seen.
No,
but
you wouldn't have. You would have folded.
This employee doesn't need
No.
her shit to be like, I don't need to put her through the paces. Her job.
We were so nice. We made her laugh.
Did you?
I thought I made her laugh. Yeah.
And then she like rolled her eyes. And then I was thinking, see, I think this is such a like novel thing about us. Like, oh, we crash parties. But I wonder if
It happens all the time.
it happens all the time. And people, because I'm like, oh, it'd be fun when we're in our 60s crashing parties.
No, we fit, like, to that woman, we fit into this category of people that stay at that hotel that are annoying and get drunk and try to crash the parties at the barn.
Because
We're not-
we have nothing better to do. We're the banished couple who complained about their room who are now crashing. We're the trouble.
She's got our number. She knows
She knows.
exactly
She
who
knows.
we are.
She knows. So that was it. We tried. You know what? I think I folded because I didn't want to make her life more difficult. But part of me, like when I saw what we were actually getting into, I was like, oh, I think in my mind this was going to be way more fun than what
No,
it.
you didn't do any of those calculations. You were hammered and you got caught right when you walked in. You're doing that after the fact now. You would have folded no matter what.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
wish you could have been at that party talking insurance with those people. Shout out IAA.
Okay, so that's that story.
Yeah. I had a question. 'Cause
Yeah, go ahead.
We just wrapped up Love Island. As some of you know, we watched the Love Island UK show. It just wrapped up. It's pretty
What a pain in the butt.
pretty frustrating 8 weeks of our lives
It
for
felt like
nothing, sort
It
of.
felt like work.
Yeah.
Like getting into bed after a long day and be like, now we have to get through this.
Yeah.
It was a terrible season.
It wasn't good. There are a few highlights. There was one contestant, Same,
Same.
who's stunning.
Wow.
It's so mad. It's mental how stunning Same
Unreal.
is. And she's got some nice swimsuit
tits.
numbers.
Oh, sorry, swimsuit numbers.
Great. Maybe the best breasts on the show. Who's that to say? I don't know.
Andy, no. Andy, you can't. This is something you don't understand. There are things I have. And by the way, for our listeners,
You do have great
this
breasts.
isn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This isn't about me feeling jealous. I could give two shits if Andy's talking about whoever.
Yeah.
You just don't get to say that
I
objectifying.
went with breasts because I didn't want to say tits.
Well, that's
was
like,
breasts even worse almost?
No.
All of it's
well,
not.
none of it's good. I get to say that. You don't.
Okay, great. Hopefully I don't step on any more landmines coming up here. She'll wear some great swimsuits.
God.
A lot of the girls
Shit.
wear some great swimsuits showing off their tremendous figures. I'm joking. No, but a lot of the girls wear like thongs or G-strings, right?
God, you want to know what's so pathetic?
This is not, but just let me go for a minute or say what you got to say, but then let me off the leash for a second here.
Watching this season, I was like, I know Andy at some point is going to bring up to me how now all bathing suits are bums out like thongs. I knew this was
But you
coming.
know, just let me go
Go
for
ahead.
a second. So I just had this thought because the other night we're watching it, and Sammy had one of these great swimsuits on, and I had this thought like, wow, like sure those are cool, but you know when you have like a bad butt day, like a swampy butt day, like maybe things haven't been going great for you in the tummy department. Just like when you're having,
God.
you know what I'm saying though?
Andy.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't think I do as much as you do. Like, that doesn't affect me that frequently, but sure, I guess every once in a while. You have tummy issues, which I do think is linked to your diet.
Uh-huh.
Like, fairly frequently, I would say.
Okay.
And so, no, swampy butt is not a factor. Now, I kind of want to get ahead of this and kind of get out of this, but
I want to stay here just for a second, please.
women
Yeah.
know how to deal with anything because we have fucking blood coming out of our pussies.
Yeah.
Like, those women having like, I don't think swamp butt is even on the radar.
But so you're telling me that if you're on vacation, it just seemed like it just clicked for me like, what a hurdle to have to navigate this
God.
other thing of when you have a bad butt day, but you're expected to wear a thong swimming suit. To me, with my type of butt situations I might deal with from time to time,
God.
it's like a total non-starter. Like there's days I just couldn't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Is that right?
That would be impossible. And
oh my
yet,
God. By the way,
and yet these women have to do this all the time. Not have to, I guess choose to, but is it just a situation where you would choose a different suit that day, or you really don't think this is an issue?
this is just like, is coming from the male lens in such a way that really all this conversation kind of illuminates for me is how little like you get it. You can try to get it, but yeah,
Get what?
for women, yes, I guess I don't think the swamp
Okay.
butt plays a part. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
That you don't understand like being in a swimsuit from the age of 12, 13, whatever,
Okay.
when someone first gets their period. I mean, I will say one of my best friends growing up had, when she first got her first period ever.
Yeah.
Now imagine this. I want you to imagine this regarding your butt.
Yeah.
Think about your asshole.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a competitive swimmer.
Okay.
You're 13.
Okay.
You have to wear a
Speedo.
Speedo swimsuit.
Yep.
You knew this was coming, but it's still jarring. One
course.
day you wake up, you're kind of having diarrhea cramps.
Okay.
And then you realize you pull down your underwear and you're bleeding out of your anus.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, now this is happening. And this is going to last for a few days.
Mm.
possibly up to a week.
So far, I actually can totally relate to this, but that's a whole other health thing that we should talk about at some point.
Are you serious?
No, I'm joking.
Okay. So there is a fix for this, though.
Okay.
You're 13.
Yeah.
You've never had any sexual experience. I mean, okay, stop. Just imagine, if you will, that at 13 you had never had any sexual experience. And the fix for this is that you have to shove
Oh, I didn't see where you're going with
a plastic, like, long thing
Yeah.
up your ass
Mm-hmm.
and then shoot the cotton wad inside of it into your asshole. And it has a string hanging out of it, and
Yeah.
wear that during your
Swim
going
meet.
to your swim practice.
Yeah.
So this is 6 hours of swimming every day.
Yes.
That's what you're dealing with. And it's all wrapped up in your swimsuit, and it's the
Right.
sensation of this. That is just the beginning of what it's like to the relationship between swimwear and periods. And then also I'm like, I think women, by virtue of like women's health,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so on top of that, oh my gosh, you now have your butt period. Well,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have to go to the butt period doctor, and they are going to, again, you've never had anyone in that area.
Okay.
You're going to have to go sit on this table with paper, scoot your butt down so that your bleeding butthole is like right, like out in the cold breeze and right in a stranger's face.
Yeah.
What they're going to do is take this like metal kitchen utensil,
Yeah.
shove it in your butt,
Yeah.
crank it to open your butt
Yeah.
way past what feels comfortable,
Mm.
and then put something in and like scrape a little bit out of your butt.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what women are dealing with. So I guess to answer your question, no, I don't think they're that worried about a swampy butt day, but I don't even understand what that means.
Okay, let me give it to you in an easier way. I appreciate your journey that we just went on here. Okay, let me make it easier. Let's just talk about G-string underwear, thongs, okay? You go to your favorite restaurant.
Why is it called a G-string? Shouldn't it be called a T-string?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
That's great, though. Let us know in the comments. Let's say you go to your favorite restaurant, but oh boy, unfortunately, something doesn't agree with you, and then you have diarrhea that next day, okay? But you're the type of woman that always wears a thong. But no, that doesn't always wear a thong. That wears a thong 60% of the time. But you wore one that morning, didn't know that you were going to have this food poisoning situation. And then...
Wait, food poisoning?
Not food poisoning, just whatever. You have diarrhea. Aren't you kind of like, gosh, I wish I wasn't wearing the thong today?
Can I ask some follow-up questions?
Yeah.
Okay, like if it's food poisoning, then no, you're just sick and you need to be in bed. But if it's like you have some loose stool,
Nice, perfect.
but you wipe it all.
Yeah, totally.
So can I ask you what the concern is?
Yeah.
Is the concern that some's like seeping out when you're not going to the bathroom? Because I don't really see a problem. If it's happened in the bathroom and you've cleaned shit up, then yeah, throw that G-string on. Carry on about your life.
To me, I wasn't really necessarily thinking seepage, but that you raised my anxiety even more with that. I'm just thinking of this feeling of like swampy butt or bad butt. Just when your butt is not having a good day, I'm thinking you do not want that kind of underwear or swimwear. But to me, you're saying it's no big deal.
I don't think I've experienced the type of bad butt you're talking about.
I don't believe that for a second.
Also, okay, not to be totally disgusting, but like you have more like hair there. And
That's true.
It's a whole different situation.
That's true.
In my mind, imagine like it's just smooth and clean.
Yeah, but we're talking about a bad butt day.
But even with a bad butt day, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Is it
But doesn't you-
swollen? Is it like...
So you're saying I'm talking swamp butt, which might not even have any poop involved. But swamp butt to me is like, it's sweaty, it's uncomfortable.
But that happens
it's
when
irritated
that
from
happens
wiping.
when it's all covered.
What do you mean it happens when it's all covered?
Okay, like let's say I've had. I hate that we're talking about this.
We can
so
move
much.
on. We can move on.
Let's say I've had, like, when in my mind, swamp butt is like, it's a hot day.
Sure.
I'm
yeah.
wearing like workout leggings. I've gone for a walk or I've gone to work out.
Yeah.
And then I'm walking around and it just feels like sweaty and gross. Now,
Yeah.
the remedy to that is honestly to take it all off and air it out. And that's exactly what a thong bathing suit would do. Your concern might be the fix for the problem.
We got nowhere with this, and that's totally fine. And I also feel like, I think you made some great points of adjacent stuff, but I don't think you addressed the issue, and I don't think I'm crazy. But that's okay.
I don't think you're crazy, but do you have any new... Let me ask you this. This is such a good question, I think. Okay, when it comes to like women's lib stuff
Okay.
or like feminist stuff,
Yeah.
and I get kind of preachy like that, like, let me tell you about something.
Yeah.
Is it so off-putting that you don't really hear it? or hang on. Did any part of you just go, "Oh man, like my 13-year-old self having to bleed out of his asshole and shove stuff up his ass, and that's rough." Like, women, that stinks.
Here's the thing. I heard all of that, and you also said it to me in a way of like, I didn't know any of that information. I know you were trying to make it like dramatic for me and have me really be in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear everything you said, but I knew all the information you were giving me. And I felt like I get the point that you're making. Like you were trying to make like, we deal with so much more than this. But I was asking, but what about this though?
But
and
I'm
I understand why you're
it's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
And it is relevant to me that like you're asking about this like grain of sand, and I'm like, we are climbing volcanoes, like, you know, but okay, all of that aside.
Yeah.
I just want you to know, or I just want to know from you.
Uh-huh.
I know you knew that information, but I'm hoping that like spelling it out and putting it in your terms of your butt.
Yeah.
Does that affect you at all and go, oh my God, that is like a lot to deal with? Because here's what I want to say.
Yeah.
As a woman now, and also having a kid who is going to be entering teenagerdom in a little, couple of years.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, I am like, that is fucking intense.
Right.
And even more so than when I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And also knowing, I mean, I don't want to get all preachy, but like the state of things. Do you know like maternal death went up like a crazy amount?
See, again, you're losing me not because I don't want to hear this stuff I'm like anti. You're just losing me because I feel like you're being pulled where I guess your heart's pulling you. But here's what I would suggest. Everything you said,
I'm not looking for advice.
I want to mansplain just for a second.
I'm truly not.
No,
I'm not.
because listen, I think if you find yourself here again, I'm going to give you a better analogy. Are you ready?
No.
I think you're going to want to hear this.
I don't want
You
to.
should have talked about my penis bleeding.
Oh, why didn't I do that?
Yes, and having to stick something up my penis.
Okay.
That would be like, what are you talking about? All of a sudden my penis is bleeding?
Yeah.
Where the butt bleeding, it's like, as I mentioned before, I've had a hemorrhoid here or there.
I hate that
do you
you're
see what
right.
I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
You gotta.
I hate, you know what? This is really frustrating.
And then you're in a chair and they spread open the hole of your penis. Oh my God. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Right?
This whole this whole podcasting experience has been incredibly humbling because we started off with I was wrong, you're right. Now we're here talking about something that I know way more about.
Mm.
My perspective should matter more.
Yeah.
You're right. But all I want to hear from you, a man, and I want you to represent all men right now,
Okay.
is God damn, that is a lot to deal with.
Oh, let me just say from the bottom of my heart, it is a lot to deal with. And over the years, I have definitely taken in, but will never have any idea. But I've taken in and been like, God, that must suck. Especially the period thing. But I will never understand how much it will suck.
Oh, this is like this is exactly right. This is A+.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about the biggest fight we ever had?
What?
No? Because we had a listener on Patreon wrote us a letter. Bethany. Said, greetings to you both. I love your show. And yes, I have to admit, Monica sent me. Oh my God, St. Monica. Question for you to address. Inquiring minds need to know in the latest episode, that was the last episode, I believe, Syndrome.
Yeah.
You mentioned your biggest fights.
Oh.
One you mentioned involved dog food. I mean, come on. How can we not hear more about that? Please share sometime in the future.
Yes, we can definitely talk about that. Happy to. And I, you know what I love talking about this? I feel like this was the fight that got us into couples therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I really attribute our growth in communicating and working through conflict and to couples therapy. And I encourage couples to go because it gives you this tool set. And one of the things I am proudest about our relationship is something that I feel like a lot of couples just don't even address and kind of like have resentment building up or whatever and stuff it down. Or like they can't, I don't know. One of the things I love most about our relationship, interestingly, is how we deal with conflict. And it's to the degree that when we are in conflict and we work through it, I feel like a pride about that versus, so I'm not scared of conflict also, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I'm not scared. It feels like a safe space to voice, like I just did, any kind of feedback or like, if something's hitting wrong. So anyway, happy to talk about this. Before I get into that, I just wanted to say to all of our amazing patrons who joined us in our Mario Kart tournament, was so much fun.
Holy
Andy
shit.
and I didn't smoke any asses.
I got second place twice.
You did. But I would say
We got smoked.
And it was, again, humbling. I mean, I think humble pie is should be the title of this.
Agreed.
So, and there was a clear winner.
Shout out Andrew.
Congratulations. And so if you want to be a supporter of the show, it's patreon.com/nobody's listening right. Our first 500 patrons are going to get an MP3 sent to them of our theme music that you can use as a ringtone or whatever your heart desires. So, I mean, you can't like publish it and stuff, but
we do a monthly bonus episode and then other stuff from time to time, like Mario Kart tournaments or whatnot. Yeah.
Okay. Our biggest fight. Why don't you start?
Well, it's weird because I think you're going to have to start because I don't really remember. I think I do, but I know it's in your file of fuck-ups. Probably you have a better copy of it.
Yeah.
So I almost think you should kind of start and then I'll chime in. I think I know what happened. Or do you want me to say the quick summary of what I think started it? I think our dog, Ruby, rest in peace, was having maybe some sort of like tummy troubles or something and didn't want to wear a G-string.
I'm sorry I stepped on your amazing joke.
Oh, no, it's all good.
That was very funny.
And we were maybe trying out different foods and whatnot. And then it got to some point where then it was like we were cooking food and all this stuff. And then at one point I think I was like, this is ridiculous. It's a dog. We can't be we're not cooking food for the dog for forever. It's a dog. And I think you were like, no, we are. Is any of this right? Or am I totally wrong?
It's the gist of it is right. But
Okay.
here's what it was.
Okay.
I was
Pregnant.
very pregnant. Very pregnant.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
8.5 months pregnant.
Whoa.
You were working with Meg Myers, the artist, a
Shout out,
ton.
Okay.
And she was kind of blowing up. Like, I think this was on the heels of you guys flying to New York and meeting with all the record labels. And
Yeah. More
you
travel
were
and stuff.
slammed
Yeah.
with work.
Okay.
And I was nesting hardcore.
Getting ready.
There was already tension between us because you, at the time,
Yeah.
didn't feel like you could commit to taking a few weeks off of work. Do you remember this?
Oh, I totally remember. Yeah.
And I was like outraged by that. And I was like, I'm about to have a baby. You are at least taking 2 weeks, or like a month off of work to help me,
Yeah.
whatever. Now, it's really funny looking at this because also what was going on is, and I said this the other night to you, what wasn't being said is that I felt like my career was done for. I had been like trying to get my career going. Then I got knocked up. Now I was going to have a baby. My husband's career is taking off and he can't even take 2 weeks off to help me. Like, I'm done for.
Yeah.
In the meantime, our first baby, Ruby, is not doing so great. And it wasn't like, I think we were making chicken and rice for her and stuff. And then the only way she would eat it was
Yes, this is it.
like if I got her on our bed and I literally put it in my hand and she ate it out of my hand. And it was like
The
a
littlest
half
bit
hour.
at a time.
It was
yeah.
a half-hour long process.
Yes.
And you were like, no fucking way are you
Yeah.
going to keep doing this. And I was like, I'm the one doing this.
Yeah.
You don't get to decide. And you were like, she's my dog. This is like, we need to kind of, it's sink or swim. Like, let's put the food out and she's either going to eat it or not. You weren't saying like, let's kill her or anything.
No.
but-
I think it was that I'm so glad you remember the hand thing. It just escalated to, in my mind, now she's on our bed and we're feeding her homemade food from our hand, one bite at a time. It had crossed a level to me that was like, this is absurd. This is not sustainable. This is crazy.
So it's so interesting discussing this on the heels of last week where like the syndrome thing is not really about syndrome versus syndrome, right? The tension between us about that is about other stuff.
Sure.
And in this case, in our minds at the time, I was just like, well, fuck you. Like, I'm the one cooking this food. I'm the one feeding her. I'm like,
I figured out how to make the dog eat. She
I'm
wasn't
working-
eating before.
Yes, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
working so hard to keep her alive.
Right.
You're not doing shit. You don't get to weigh in on this.
Right.
You, meanwhile, are like, you've taken her now so far away from what's normal and made this problem so much bigger
How
by
are we gonna? Yeah. How are we gonna?
babying her through this.
Right.
So we go to couples therapy, and like, it's really funny, especially, we don't really know our couples therapist. She never gives us anything, but she's looking at us. I'm like about to pop, and we're sitting there talking about this goddamn
food.
dog food.
Yeah.
And she was like, heard us out, and we're enraged. Like, we're passionate about our side of these things.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you think any of this might have to do with the fact that you're about to become parents together? And it was funny, honestly, because
Yeah.
it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. And
That's so easy for her. Like
so easy.
so
What a
basic.
glorious.
We're so basic.
But then, we kind of got to the heart of like me feeling like you're not even going to be there.
Yeah.
Now, long story short, Andy was very much there. I think it was just the anxiety of feeling like
It's fun. Well, it was around. There's a big music conference called South by Southwest that I'm sure a lot of our listeners know about, and I think it was right around that time. And I was like, oh shit, I'm going to miss that. But like, there might be some emails and stuff I have to do like remotely and whatnot. I think I was so worried about that. And you were like, no, you can't, which makes all sorts of sense. But I think that's why I was so preoccupied. There's like this big event in my mind.
There were things coming up, but I do think there was this kind of like stubborn resistance from you to commit to a timeline that you would be there.
Yeah.
And I think in couples therapy, we ultimately got you to commit to 2 weeks. Now, like, then what it was, which I think is what you were gunning for from the start, was like you were there a bunch that first few months.
Yeah.
But when you had to go out of town, of course you could. If you had to do emails, of course you could. But it's not like, I think I was like, oh, he's holding this open because he wants to be in the studio 24 hours a day.
And I think also there was the thing, neither of us knew what the reality of the brand new baby was going to be. And I think we were also butting heads so much that I was like, I think it got to a point where like, you were like, I don't even want you looking at your email, right? It was like,
I was taking it too far.
In reality, it was like, this baby's going to be sleeping a lot. We were both on our
the
phones
first 2 weeks,
and stuff like that. Having said that, have you had the experience where, whether it's a woman or a man, I feel like I had this happen within the last year maybe, but I'm like talking to someone and like, so like you just had the kid, right? Or like your kid's on the way or something, like you lose track of them. Like, yeah. And you're like, when? And they're like 3 days ago. And you're just like, what are you doing talking to me? Have you ever had that happen?
Yes.
That's an interesting one.
You know, so I just was visiting my friend Casey's newborn.
Yeah.
And also her third kid, I think it's a huge difference, obviously.
Huge difference. Yeah, yeah.
But so like peaceful and blissed out.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's honestly seeing her, I'm like, oh man. I mean, that shop has very much closed, and 99.99% of me is like, there's no world. But just a little part of me is like, it would be nice to have a third kid just because there is like an appreciation for the babyhood that I don't think you necessarily have in the first or second. Like the first one, you're freaked out. The second one is like, how's the first one doing? By the third, you're and I've heard that from many of my friends. Like the third baby is where you like sink in and are like, oh, the newborn days are glorious. Now, we had a child who had colic.
Yeah.
For 5 months. Like we were in it.
Yeah, yeah.
So almost like after she arrived, and of course you and I fell head over heels in love with her, all of the work stuff and whatever, it really was just like, get it in wherever the fuck you can, because we are in a burning building together, and we had no idea how long it would last. And it was her on day 5 months, she woke up happy, not crying. And it was a whole different ball game. So I remember Vanessa Ragland, my totally mommy co-host, had Oliver, and she came over just to see each other. And our babies were like a month and a half, 2 months. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, I'm starting to go back to like, she was doing Second City. Yeah. I think it was Second City. And she's like, I'm starting to go back to like performing and, you know, and I was like, so like you're leaving Oliver for, 6 hours, and like, what do you pump? And she's like, no, I just bring him. And I'm like, what? Because we couldn't do anything with Teddy because she was screaming her fucking head off nonstop. So people have different experiences. But yes, I've had that experience so many times where I'm like, and also people who look like well-rested and kind of like, like, what? I feel like I was a true shell of a human. But anyway, that was our first fight. Not first fight, but that was our first, like,
get us into couples
therapy. And
it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Nice.
All right.
Well, we got to wrap up.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have so much more stuff to talk to you about.
We got to wrap up. Is this maybe a little earlier than normal because we have to go to a dance performance, and we started recording a little late because there was a guy with a leaf blower.
All right. Well, good night.
Good night.